Hey, how's it going, you guys? This is Spideyco64 back here once again, and welcome to 2023, guys. So, the new year is, of course, well, it's here. Wow, that rhymed. But anyways, though, guys, in today's video, to start off the new year, we're here to talk about some Star Wars. Yeah, it's been a while since we talked about Star Wars on the channel. Last episode, or the last, episode of Star Wars that we talked about was the finale to Andor, which was released back during Thanksgiving, 2 months ago already. So, wow, pretty crazy right there. So, now, of course, the new year, and we are starting things off with a show that got pushed back from the beginning of the year to the end of 2022 to then now being the first Star Wars related media to come out in 2023. And of course, I'm not including what a comic book or a novel or graphic novel that explains what the hell this thing is and all that sort of stuff. I'm not counting those. I'm solely counting the movies and such, and the animated TV shows and whatnot, sort of have you. So now, let's just kind of go ahead, and before we get into the review, I want to go ahead and kind of just overall recap as to what I think of the first season of The Bad Batch. If you all don't really know my opinion on it, then this is just my opinion in a nutshell. I did not like the first season of Bad Batch. I was disappointed, in all honesty. The first few episodes, the first episode, which was a 1-hour premiere on May the 4th back in 2021, was fantastic. I thought, basically they were picking up where they left off with the Clone Wars and stuff like that. But then as the season went on, it was just filler to me. And honestly, I just couldn't really get any attachment to the characters and all that sort of stuff. There's just some characters that I just did not care for. They wasted some characters, and really that's overall my big problem with the Bad Batch. Now, I'm not saying I hate the Bad Batch characters at all. However, though, I'm gonna be honest here, I really don't feel any more attachment to them. I pretty much only like them just because they look cool. They have really cool designs, and all that sort of stuff, and that's pretty much only the reason why I kind of care about them and all that sort of stuff, and their clones and all that sort of stuff. And it's pretty cool to see D. Bradley Baker, one of my favorite voice actors currently right now, out in the industry right now. He does all the voices for the clones. He's done that for years, and it's still cool to see him still do it to this day. And to kind of also say this, I just did not like Omega, and really, I can kind of say I still don't like her now, but we'll have to see what this season does. All right. I know I haven't gotten into the show itself, but now I'm going to. So with that being said, let's talk about Bad Batch Season 2. Bad Batch Season 2 opens up with 2 premiere episodes. That being, of course, the title Spoils of War and Ruins of War. So the Bad Batch now are still doing missions for the Trandoshan Sid, who was in the first season, and all that sort of stuff. She basically assigned them to do different jobs for her and all that sort of stuff last season and whatnot, sort of have you. If you honestly really ask me, I really wish she was not around, because basically she's the reason why there's so much goddamn filler. But anyways, with that being said, though, the Bad Batch are on this mission trying to steal a crate from this tropical planet running away from crabs, and they eventually do get the crate. Omega has become a lot more better with her electric bow and arrow and all that sort of stuff. And when they return back to Sid's place, or back to her cantina, she has basically told the Bad Batch that, well, hey, the Empire are onto us. Well, they are going to be onto her, and she can't run her little business. So what happens is that she gives the Bad Batch another mission. And this mission is to steal some valuable cargo from the planet of Sereno. And for any of you who may not know what Sereno is or what that planet is, that is the home planet to Count Dooku. Now, Count Dooku is, now not only was he a Jedi turned Sith Lord turned politician, he also was royalty on Sereno. Basically, that's where his name comes from. He's the Count of the planets and all that sort of stuff. So, naturally, of course, after his death to Anakin Skywalker in Episode 3, what happened now was that, hey, there's a lot of valuable goods in his palace. Now, all of a sudden, now it's up for grabs. Now, the Empire have a few of his valuable goods, whatnot, sort of have you. However, though, Sid has said that if they can at least take one of the crates filled with his treasures and all that sort of stuff, hell, I'll be really honest, I thought they were going to uncover like a secret lightsaber, that's worth a lot on the black market and all that sort of stuff. That would have been kind of funny. I don't know. But anyways, though, Sid has said that if they can at least steal one of those jewels, then they can be settled, then they can settle things out, and basically they'll have true freedom and all that sort of stuff. Now, Hunter initially does not want to do this because, well, first of all, it's a dangerous mission, and they're trying to avoid the Empire as the best they can. However, though, the rest of the team has basically said that, well, we have to do this because, hey, we can guarantee our safety and all that sort of stuff. One interesting thing, though, to note that in this episode, out of all the characters that really were opposing Hunter's, that were really, questioning Hunter, I meant to say, was Echo. He basically said that we're not really doing anything. We're just doing jobs for this Trandoshan lady that clearly does not like us and all that sort of stuff, and we could be doing more. That's what basically Echo tells, Hunter and all that sort of stuff. And basically how they have to do this because they got to, I'm trying to remember what was really the line, but they sacrifice, but basically Echo's trying to say that they sacrificed everything they had just so they can rescue Omega and all that sort of stuff. And Omega heard that, and well, that that influences her decisions later in the episode, but we're not there yet. So what happens is that the Bad Batch head off to Sereno, and they head over to Count Dooku's palace. And it looks like that Count Dooku's palace, well, it doesn't look run down or anything like that. Also, the timeline of this is supposedly, again, it's the typical 6 months after such and such and all that sort of stuff. I really would love, in fiction, I'm just saying this, a lot of time jumps are usually 6 months. Why do they always pick 6 months? Why can't it be a month? Why can't it be, 18 months? Hell, Batman versus Superman did that. And while that movie is bad, don't quote on me or don't at me, Snyder fans. Snyderverse is not returning. At least it was different, but why do they keep doing this? All right, anyways, I just wanted to get that rant off my chest. But anyways, though, the city of Sereno, though, however, though, is, blown to hell because, from what it looked like, there was a rebellion, and, what happens when there's rebellion. Hell, that also kind of got me wondering, why didn't the Empire did this to Ferrix in Andor? They could just bomb the fuck out of that planet and no one really would have cared. Actually, now thinking about it, that could be something that they probably maybe could have... Shit, that's maybe something that they're probably going to do in the second season of Andor. Holy shit, I just have a revelation. All right, anyways, I'm getting way too sidetracked here. So to basically get straight to the point, Hunter has to cause a distraction to the Bad Batch so they can at least steal a crate here and there and all that sort of stuff. However, though, the plan does not go well. Wrecker does get a crate out of the container. But however, though, Echo, Tech, and Omega are trapped inside of the container. And Hunter has to come up with a way to get them out. And considering that, they're brought out in the daylight, and there's hundreds of clone troopers out in the area, basically now they're in a lose-lose situation. So Hunter uses some detonators to blow up some of the V-Wings, and it causes a security breach or an emergency. And then what happens is that one of the clone troopers, discover that the cargo ship has been compromised, and basically they eject all the escape pods, and now the three have to get out. The cargo have to get out of the ship another way, and Omega, using her clever mind, she realized that they can escape out of the cargo ships and all that sort of stuff, because she's been studying on some different freighters and ships. Sounds interesting than what I'm learning at college. But anyways, going back to Hunter and Wrecker, now basically they have to get back to the Havoc Marauder, but it's gonna be a little bit hard. They go through Count Dooku's throne room in his palace, which it was pretty cool to see back in animation. I can't remember the last time we saw Count Dooku's throne room. If I had to guess, it was probably season 6 of the Clone Wars, most likely with the final arc of that series, the Yoda arc. Where he goes to Moraband and all that sort of stuff. But as said before, they use the elevator down to Count Dooku's down another level to try to escape the clone troopers, and all that sort of stuff. They also go through the city, the ruins of the city, and to basically get straight to the point, because not much happens with them. All the stuff happens with the other three. What happens here is that they basically have to, wait until nightfall. And what also happens was that they also grabbed an old, basically, I don't know what's going on in the background, but basically what happens was that Wrecker found an old, well, not a rocket launcher, but he finds a still functioning piece of old Separatist tank, and he uses that thing as a rocket launcher and all that sort of stuff. And what happens is that they lead the clone trooper, so that they were able to run away from the clone troopers. And what eventually happens is they get to the Havoc Marauder. However, what happens to Echo, Omega, and Tech was that they, of course, are able to escape the cargo ship. However, though, something's happened. They land on a cliff, and then the cargo container then falls into the ravine a little bit, and Tech has a crate fall on his leg, and now they basically, at that point, they just have to get back to the Havoc Marauder. However, though, they're helped in by a local on the planet. And that local has basically run and survived from the Empire and all that sort of stuff for that long. And he basically starts to explain how Count Dooku was a corrupt man, and he stole from his own people. Now, Count Dooku, of course, if all of you all know, he, of course, is also Darth Tyrannus and all that sort of stuff. And while he left the Jedi for a very good reason and a very logical reason, however, though, Count Dooku was still he was still a piece of shit, and he was also corrupt. About as corrupt as the Jedi, huh? Hypocrite, I see. Oh, man, fucking Dooku. I'm glad Anakin chopped your weird tombstone head off and all that sort of stuff. Oh, man, I'm imagining that now, the tombstone Count Dooku head, just on fucking General Grievous's ship and all that sort of stuff. But anyways, going back to the episode here, what happens here is that Tech and Echo make small talk with the local man. Echo basically is off trying to scout out in case more clone troopers are after them and all that sort of stuff. And what happens is that Omega gets the idea to go back to the cargo container and basically try to recover any stolen jewels and all that sort of stuff. Now, as I said before, Echo's comment from before basically inspired her to do this. And, while a lot of people are going to say she's a fucking dumbass for that, honestly, she did have a good reason to do it. Now, she didn't really think about it because, let's be kind of honest here. no one in the right mind, and even if she thought it through, which the reason why she went back there is for a good reason and all that sort of stuff. Hell, there's even a line about that if they're doing this for the right reason and all that sort of stuff, or are they just the same like any other rebel group against the Empire and all that sort of stuff. But however, though, she just didn't use logic here. I mean, am I logically just saying no one would go down into a fucking ravine and trying to grab gold and all that sort of stuff and whatnot, sort of have you? I mean, hell, pretty much at that point, the mission is pretty much screwed. So you basically have to get the hell out of there and all that sort of stuff. However, though, really this kind of plays into what I really disliked about Bad Batch Season 1. Was really the simplest of fact, Omega just can't seem to let things go, or can't seem to just simply just say, yeah, we failed our mission. Like, hell, how many times have there been cop-outs where you think, oh, a character's going to die? Like, for example, I thought AZ in the season finale was going to try to sacrifice himself to, to save Omega. And that would be a pretty good send-off to AZ, because what are you really going to do with him? And all that sort of stuff. Well, they do know what to do with him. He's basically a server at the cantina and all that sort of stuff. It's just kind of stuff like that. It's like Omega, I feel like one of the biggest character arcs Omega is really going to have to learn in this season is she needs to learn to let things go and all that sort of stuff and whatnot, sort of have you. So what happens is that she goes into the fucking container, tries to get the gold. Echo just tells her, leave that shit behind. They're also shot up by a lot of the clone troopers. Basically, basically they're cornered by them and all that sort of stuff. And one other thing I kind of noticed here was also the clone troopers are starting to act more like stormtroopers and all that sort of stuff and whatnot, sort of have you. I mean, come on. You could just go around the corner with your gun and just quickly just blast the shit out of them. But then again, Bad Batch armor is pretty much stronger than clone armor. And as I said before, if these were just normal stormtroopers, I probably wouldn't mind it. But these are clone troopers. The elite, or the perfect soldiers. Yeah, the perfect soldiers. Not the best warriors, because that goes to the Mandalorians. However, though, they're not great soldiers. And all that sort of stuff. But basically what happens here is Tech, with a sprained leg, goes back and he surprisingly holds off a lot of the clone troopers. Wow. That was a pretty impressive the displayment by Tech. That was pretty cool, in my honest opinion. So what happened is that they all, are able to escape off of Sereno, and basically, unfortunately, the mission really wasn't, it was a failure, and all that sort of stuff. However, though, failure, also does mean, that, hey, Omega probably did learn a big lesson back there and all that sort of stuff. And I think as the season continues, there's going to be a moment where she's going to have to she has to do on her own. She has to think that I got to let this mission go, that this mission is a failure and all that sort of stuff. And so now we then, to basically end the episode off, we then go back to Sereno, where Vice Admiral Rampart is, he is talking to one of the clone captains, and one of the clone captains basically said that Clone Force 99 is here. Now, the Empire don't know that Clone Force 99 are still alive. And so Rampart thinks to himself, I can't let this information go out, because, well, if he does find out, then Tarkin, well, let's just say this, Tarkin's most likely just going to be like, yo, Lord Vader, can you kill this fool right here? Because this fool keeps fucking up and all that sort of stuff. And Vader's just like, on my way, and all that sort of stuff. So in order for Rampart to cover his tracks, he kills the clone captain. And also the clone captain, which I forgot his name, but the clone captain was actually resisting his orders. So from what it seems like, and this could be a very big plot point, and that is the chips are slowly wearing off on some clone troopers. Now, this clone trooper had a name and not a number. So I think for the regs, the ones that don't have a name or all that sort of stuff, I think that they'll probably, if this was a normal clone trooper, he probably would have obeyed that order. However, though, this clone trooper, who, as I said before, had a name, and I don't know, probably maybe was with the 501st or was with another clone battalion with the Jedi, with a Jedi at his side, probably knows that, hey, Rampart, you don't want to admit your mistake. And yeah, I mean, you most likely are going to get killed, but at least admit that you were wrong and all that sort of stuff and whatnot, sort of have you. So now, now Rampart basically is going to try the best he can to try to get rid of now Clone Force 99 and all that sort of stuff. And from what it looks like, that's then going to lead to Crosshair and then Commander Cody and all that sort of stuff, which I'm very excited to see Commander Cody back in Star Wars again. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, there you go, guys. That was a review of Star Wars The Bad Batch, episodes 1 and 2, which I kind of have to just say this. The episodes, they were pretty good and off to a really good start. However, though, there were some of those issues, as said before, Omega being a dumbass and basically, I don't know, just some of the, this episode kind of did feel like if this was in the first season and all that sort of stuff, it kind of would have felt like filler. But however, though, they really are setting up the plot going forward now. However, though, as said before, last season was filled with filler. So, basically, here's kind of something that may or may not happen to these videos, and that is, I may not review every single Bad Batch episode. If an episode's filler, then I'm just gonna make a quick video just with iMovie with the text, just saying this episode's this episode was just okay and such, and we'll just go on and we'll just wait until something significant happens. Now, I felt like that these 2 episodes could have been one big premiere and all that sort of stuff, and then maybe we can have another episode. We have, like, I wanted it to look like this. So I kind of wanted there to be one episode, 1 hour episode, focus on the Bad Batch, and all that sort of stuff. And then we can have another 1 hour episode focus on Cody and Crosshair and all that sort of stuff. I really felt like that maybe that could have gotten more people excited if they just showed Cody and Crosshair, because let's be honest, we're all here for Cody and Crosshair. But however, though, it is what it is. So with that really being said, guys, what did you think of the Bad Batch Season 2 premiere? Did you like it? Are you not excited for this season? Or are you just going to wait until basically the season's finished? And you could just watch it all in one sitting, which I think that might actually be the better way to watch it. Hell, I might do that. I might actually really do that with this season, go back and watch every episode and then go into the season finale and all that sort of stuff, which the season finale is going to be at the end of March. So we got a lot of stuff coming out. So yeah, guys, new year, of course, new Star Wars content, and we're going to be here to talk about it. So to all of you guys, I hope you all start this year off good. However, though, the year hasn't really started off that well. In some cases, of course, I just want to go ahead and just, this might feel forced, but no, it generally comes from my heart. Of course, beginning of the year, we heard news of Jeremy Renner in a snowplow accident. We also heard of the death of Ken Brock. Of course, I'm a racing fan, so of course, rest in peace, Ken Block. Hope Jeremy Renner recovers soon. And of course, Damar Hamlin, the football player for the Buffalo Bills, is it? Yeah, I think it's the Buffalo Bills. Hopefully he gets better too and he keeps fighting and all that sort of stuff. Man, and all that sort of stuff. So the year has kind of started off not that great, but let's just try to get through it. There's a few hiccups, but with that being said, guys, see you all in the next video.